Welcome to Reddit Junkie, where we post AITA stories daily. AITA for refusing to save my family's company after they gave my position to my troubled cousin. Hi Reddit, my name is Stephanie, 32F, and I come from a family that owns a multi-million-dollar business. This company has been in my family for 3 generations. My grandparents started it from the ground up after immigrating here in the 1960s, and it grew into a reputable and successful brand over the years. Back in the 2010s, the business nearly went bankrupt due to bad investments and poor decision-making made by my father, my uncle, and my mother. I was in college at the time but already had a passion for the company and spent my free time studying our industry and learning the ropes from my grandfather. When I graduated with a double major in business and marketing and later a master's in corporate leadership, I came home and worked my way through every department of the company. Eventually, I was offered a mid-level executive role and dedicated myself to modernizing our operations and fixing the financial disaster my parents and uncle had left behind. Within 5 years, I brought the company back into profitability, secured several long-term contracts, and helped double our market share. The board of directors took notice. I was praised for my work and told that when the time came, I would take over as CEO. That was the plan, or so I thought. Fast forward to about a year ago. My cousin, let's call him Brad, 34M, my uncle's son, who has a long history of substance abuse, DUIs, and even a stint in jail, suddenly reappears after being Mia for most of the past decade. My family has always swept his behavior under the rug because he's the oldest male grandchild, the golden boy. He announces he's clean now. I genuinely hope he is and wants to work for the company. I was skeptical, but I offered to help him get on his feet with a low-level position, just to get a feel for the business. Instead, the board, pushed by my uncle and supported by my own parents, decided to make him CEO, citing that this is what he needs to stay on the right path. I was stunned. I was told that I should stay on as COO and help guide Brad through the transition. Essentially, I was expected to babysit him while he played boss, and still be the one responsible if anything went wrong. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I didn't want to hurt my grandparents, who were still alive and very proud of the family legacy. 6 months went by, and it has been a nightmare. Brad is arrogant, lazy, and dismissive of all advice. He's made multiple bad deals, alienated our most loyal employees, including firing 10 of them without consulting HR or legal, and lied to shareholders about quarterly returns. I tried to intervene where I could, but everything I said was brushed off. Eventually, I was approached by a competing firm that had been headhunting me for a while. They offered me a better salary, greater creative control, a team of professionals who respect my leadership, and best of all, no babysitting. I accepted. I didn't announce it publicly, but news travels fast in our industry. Within 2 weeks of my departure, several long-standing clients severed ties with my family's company. Their stock dropped, and employees began leaving in droves. Now my family is furious. My parents accused me of sabotaging the family business and turning my back on my legacy. My uncle begged me to come back and fix things, and even Brad tried to schedule a meeting to talk. But I'm done. Even my grandparents, who I love dearly, have pleaded with me to return. They say it's not about pride, it's about saving what they built. But I don't think I should have to save them from their own decisions again. They didn't think I was good enough to lead. So why should I be good enough to fix it now? So Reddit, AITA for refusing to go back and save the company my family pushed me out of. One relevant comment stood out to me. They didn't value you when it mattered. Now that the consequences are here, they remember your worth. That's not love, that's desperation. Update 2 weeks later. It's been 2 weeks since I posted about the fallout with my family and the company I spent my adult life building, only to be replaced by my cousin Brad. When I left, I truly thought that would be the end of it. I'd move on to my new job, live my life, and the company would either sink or swim without me. But I was wrong. Things have escalated faster than anyone could have expected. Last Friday, I was contacted by someone from a legal firm that works closely with corporate compliance agencies. They didn't reach out to me as a courtesy, they wanted answers. Apparently, anonymous tips and red flags from investor reports triggered a federal-level review of the company. After several missing documents and financial inconsistencies were noted by shareholders, both tax authorities and corporate fraud investigators were alerted. Now, the company is under a full-scale audit. From what I've been able to piece together, Brad had been making some incredibly risky moves. Beyond the mass layoffs, which destabilized several key departments, he had also begun funneling company funds into new shell subsidiaries he didn't report to the board. The accountants tried to cover for him initially, but as the losses became too large to hide, it all blew up. The board acted swiftly. Last Monday, Brad was fired. Officially it was a mutual agreement, but let's be honest, it was damage control. However, the fallout didn't stop there. The board then turned on my family. Given the historical mismanagement by my father and uncle in the 2010s, and now Brad's debacle, the board proposed a rather unprecedented solution. My family should relinquish their ownership shares entirely. The rationale is simple. To save the company and its public image, there needs to be a full break from the DeLuca name. Investors have threatened to pull out entirely unless the board can assure them of a clean slate. If the family steps aside, the company stands a chance at surviving the audit and regaining trust. My grandparents are livid. They see this as the ultimate betrayal. They believe the board is scapegoating the family and using the audit as an excuse to push them out. My uncle is trying to lawyer up, saying he won't go down without a fight. My mother tried to contact me several times, text messages, voicemails, even showing up at my apartment, but I haven't answered. Not yet. I don't know what I'd say. Then there's my father. On Thursday, I got a call from my mother around 6 a.m. I didn't want to answer, but something told me to pick up. She was hysterical. My dad had collapsed that morning. The stress of everything, losing the company, the threats from the board, the press sniffing around, had pushed him into a full-blown heart attack. He's alive, but in bad shape. The doctors said it was a combination of stress, high blood pressure, and years of neglecting his health. He's stable now, but there's a long road ahead. I visited the hospital that evening. I stayed in the hallway for a long time, watching him through the glass as he lay unconscious. My mom saw me and rushed over, begging me to go inside. I told her I needed time. I don't know what to feel. Anger, grief, guilt. I wanted to prove I didn't need them, and I did. But now that everything's falling apart, I'm starting to wonder what all of this has really cost. In the last 2 weeks, I've received several job offers from rival firms, who want to scoop me up before my name gets further embroiled in the company mess. So far, I've turned them all down. Not because I'm unsure of what to do next, but because part of me is still watching this house I helped build burn down, and I can't look away. Brad, meanwhile, has vanished. No statements, no apology. Just silence. Classic. I'll probably have to give a statement soon. Maybe even testify. There's talk that this audit could result in legal action, depending on what they uncover. A lot of people could be going down. I don't know where I fit in that picture yet. I just hope my dad pulls through. Update 2 weeks later. Dad is out of the woods. That's the biggest news, and honestly the only thing that's truly mattered to me these past few days. We've had some tense, quiet hospital visits, and I'm trying my best to keep things calm for his sake. I still haven't forgotten what happened, but I also can't deny that I still love my dad, no matter how angry I am. The heart attack came out of nowhere. Apparently, the stress of everything finally caught up to him, and it was almost fatal. But he pulled through. He's recovering now, and while our conversations are short and a bit awkward, I'm glad he's still here. I'm currently on a short leave from my new company. They've been amazing through all this. Once they found out what was happening, they encouraged me to take time to be with my family, and told me my position would be waiting for me, no questions asked. It's been refreshing. I never realized how much easier it is to breathe when you're not constantly walking on eggshells. Now for the bigger news. Brad is officially wanted for embezzlement. It turns out that all those layoffs, the employees were never actually removed from the payroll. They were simply being redirected. To Brad, I don't know the full extent of it yet, but apparently, the company kept hemorrhaging money even after the layoffs. One of the newly promoted financial officers, a former analyst I used to mentor, noticed irregularities during an internal review and flagged it. That, combined with the previous audit warning, prompted the board to dig deeper. It didn't take long to uncover everything. The audit revealed that Brad had set up ghost accounts, rerouting payments under fake contractor names and shell companies. Some of the funds were traced back to a separate account under a fake name that he used for personal expenses. Lavish ones, exotic trips, a luxury vehicle, gambling debts. It was all there, plain as day. A full-blown fraud operation running under our noses. The board fired him immediately, of course, and now there's a warrant out for his arrest. As of this post, he's on the run. No one seems to know where he is. His phone is off, and even his girlfriend hasn't heard from him. His social media accounts are deleted, and the last transaction on his cards was a gas station 2 towns over. It's insane. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that this is real life. My family, of course, is in absolute shambles. Grandpa is devastated. He looked like he aged 10 years when the board confronted him. He's always believed in giving second chances, but I think this finally broke that idealism in him. Grandma isn't speaking to anyone right now. She told me, quietly, that she thinks it's her fault, that they raised Brad wrong. That maybe if they had seen the signs sooner, this wouldn't have happened. That maybe they should have listened to me when I said he wasn't ready. My parents, still tense, especially Mom. She keeps insisting that Brad just got in over his head, and that he'll come back and make things right. I don't know what world she's living in, but it's not the one I'm in. Dad's a bit quieter now. He hasn't said much beyond hospital talk, but when I visited him yesterday, he reached for my hand and said, "I'm sorry." It was the first real apology I've gotten from either of them. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. The board has begun talks with a private legal firm to determine whether or not criminal charges should extend to anyone else. Brad didn't do this alone. He may have rerouted the money, but someone had to look the other way for it to happen. A few of the senior staff have resigned voluntarily. The company's stock has plummeted. Investors are furious. Shareholders are demanding explanations. A class action suit is on the table. And amidst all of this, my family has finally stopped asking me to come back. Not because they understand, but because, in their words, there's nothing left to come back to. I don't feel vindicated. I just feel tired. I've spent my whole life trying to prove I was good enough. That I could lead. That I had the education, the drive, the vision. That I could carry the legacy my grandparents built from the ground up. I gave everything to that company, and when it was time, they handed it to someone else. Someone who treated it like a playground. Now, the playground's on fire, and the ones who set it ablaze are finally being burned by the consequences. As for me, I'm still standing, still breathing, still moving forward, and that's more than enough for now. Final update 5 months later. 5 months have passed since everything started unraveling. Brad has been caught. After weeks of avoiding the warrant and rumors flying through both the family and the business world, he finally turned himself in. It wasn't a sudden act of redemption. My uncle, Brad's father, was the one who urged him to do it. Encouraged him, actually. He knew the walls were closing in and that any shred of leniency would depend on Brad accepting responsibility. Surprisingly, Brad listened. Maybe it was guilt, or fear, or the mounting pressure from every angle. Whatever it was, he walked into a police station and confessed everything. Embezzlement, payroll fraud, lying to the board, it was all there. The authorities are taking into account that he turned himself in, and it might help during sentencing, but there's no denying the damage he caused. In the aftermath, the company had to act quickly. The board, already furious, stepped in and made a tough call. To avoid further financial and legal fallout, and to regain confidence from shareholders and partners, they challenged my family to relinquish control. The final agreement was brutal. My family had to give up 80% of their stake in the company. They'd held 51% of it, a clear majority. Now, they're left with just over 10%. That's still worth a lot of money, more than enough to live comfortably, but it's a far cry from the influence and status they once had. The extravagant lifestyle, the beach homes, luxury cars, spontaneous vacations, all of that is gone. They're having to make real adjustments, ones I don't think they ever imagined they'd have to face. My father's health scare was a wake-up call, though I'm not sure it's changed much between us. He's recovering, and we've spoken, cautiously, gently. There's still tension, still resentment, but there's also a fragile sort of understanding. We haven't healed the rift, but we've stopped actively tearing it wider. As for me, my life looks different now. My current company has been unbelievably supportive. They gave me time off when everything with my dad happened, and never once made me feel like I had to choose between my job and my family. The stability I've found here is something I don't take for granted. Now, there's talk, serious talk, that my company might acquire my family's former business. It's surreal. If you had told me a year ago that I'd be part of the organization that could potentially absorb the company I was supposed to inherit, I wouldn't have believed it. I don't know what I'll do. Part of me wants to walk away from it entirely. Let the past stay in the past. But another part of me sees a chance, maybe even a responsibility, to help rebuild something better from the ruins. Not for my family's sake, but for the people who still work there. The employees who were misled and misused under Brad's short reign. The customers who lost faith. The legacy that was nearly destroyed. I haven't made a decision yet. I'm taking things one day at a time. What I do know is this. I finally feel like I have control over my own future. Whether that future includes my family's company again or not, it will be on my terms. And that's more than I ever thought I'd be able to say. Calendar new posts every day. Brain real dilemmas, real emotions, real storytelling. Speech balloon what do you think? Was Op in the wrong or finally standing up for herself? Thanks for reading. See you in the next one.